conferences, piles of flyers, getting stuck on endless email lists, never-ending calls. There's an easier way to sort through and find the best school fundraisers. Simplify the search. School Zone Podcast proudly presents the 10 top school fundraising ideas for 2017. A guide of top fundraising companies hand-picked from the best podcasts. As an added bonus, it lists 5 awesome resource companies that would add tremendous value to your school and students. That's right, a guide to 10 top fundraising companies and 5 resource companies, all for one low price. Ready to simplify the search? Go to schoolzonepodcast.com/shop. Welcome to School Zone School Fundraising Ideas Podcast. We interview top fundraising and resource companies to help you find a solution to your next school fundraising or school resource need. Are you ready to simplify the search? Now, here's your host, Matt Miller.
Hello, School Zone Podcast listeners. Matt Miller here, coming to you from San Jose, California, the San Jose Convention Center. I am here with Mr. Wayne Brown of the Ocean Adventure. Wayne, how you doing today, man?
Great to be here.
Yes, sir. A beautiful Friday morning.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about you and what the heck is this big stuffed thing down the way that I'm looking at right now?
Well, my name's Wayne Brown, and my wife is Karen Brown, and together we're a husband and wife team. We do programs across the country for schools on what we study around the world underwater in the ocean. I'm a marine biologist. We're both diving instructors, professional underwater photographers and videographers, and we bring our experiences into the school. And the big furry thing you see down at our booth, that's a life-size adult male polar bear. The last 2 summers we've been working in the Arctic, in Norway, near the North Pole, with polar bears and other Arctic animals. So we're bringing that into the schools, and one of the ways we do that is using props and models and specimens, and we have life-size inflatable animals. So this is our newest inflatable. It's a big furry, it looks like a taxidermy animal, but it's actually inflatable. Big male polar bear.
That's cool, man. I saw them setting up yesterday, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. So
now, it looks impressive, but we have some other animals even bigger which would not fit in our booth. We have a 15-foot-long great white shark, a 20-foot-long baby humpback whale, and our largest is a 25-foot-long whale shark. So.
Wow. Sweet. This is cool. So how long have you guys been working in the school world, the school arena?
I hate to say it, but this year was our 27th year of doing school programs. And we were at a school, there's a school we do every year in the California Central Valley, Bakersfield. It's a K-8 school. And after the show, one of the teachers came up, a 4th grade teacher came up to us and said, you know, every time you come to the school, I know as other teachers, myself, are always excited to see you because we want to see what you're doing, where you've been, what you've learned. She said, I know my students are excited about it because they know you and they know you're going to bring in something fun. They're going to be learning, but they're going to be having fun. She said, remember the first time I saw you, I thought you guys were amazing. And I said, when was that? I said, oh, she said, when I was in 2nd grade. And now she's a teacher there. So it's been a while. But we've inspired a lot of people to get into science, study marine biology. Even we know one woman who's now a woman, she got into dolphin training because of what she saw in our shows. So our whole reason for coming to the school is to encourage ocean literacy and getting kids excited about studying science, possibly careers in science, opening up horizons which they didn't know about. In fact, in L.A., I know in central L.A., South Central L.A., some of these kids in the inner city have not been out of the 2-block radius around their schools, have never been to the ocean, and they're 2 miles from the ocean. And we go to schools in Chicago, of course, it's logical they wouldn't see the ocean, but in LA, 2 miles away, so we're opening up their world, letting them know what's out there and getting them excited about, the ocean.
So how long have you been a marine biologist and a diver then? You've been working with schools for 27 years. Have
right.
you been doing that the whole time, or did you start out there, and what made you decide to get involved in the schools along the way?
Well, when I was in college, I learned how to scuba dive. I was actually working at Disney World at the time as a jungle cruise skipper, and had some time, so I learned to scuba dive. And I thought it was fun. I thought it was a lot of fun to do, but I was a struggling student, didn't have the money for all this expensive scuba gear. So as I'm going back to California where I was going to school, I thought, well, if I worked for a diving company that made this stuff, I could probably get it for free. And so I was going through these catalogs, and I saw this one catalog. The chairman of the board was Jacques Cousteau. And when I was growing up, I used to watch Jacques Cousteau on TV and National Geographic, and I thought that'd be a cool company to work for because he's the main guy. Turned out to be right near where I was going to college. So I ended up working for them. I went to work for them. I had a chance to meet and work with Jacques Cousteau and one of his sons, and I got into scuba diving, and at the time I was a pre-dental student at UCLA, and so one summer I decided to take a summer off, and I became a diving instructor, and went down to the Caribbean, little island called Grand Cayman, and my summer ended up being a year and a half. It changed my life. I wanted to become a marine biologist after that, and so I went back and went back to school, and then when I met my my wife, when we became my wife, she wasn't a diver, but I taught her how to dive, took her to Grand Cayman where I used to live. She said, I'd love to do this all the time. So I said, great. So quit our jobs in California, moved down to the Caribbean, lived there 5 years, and got people excited about diving, and had an underwater photo center, underwater dive center. And we got into the school assemblies because of that. We used to do weekly slideshows for people to get them excited about going in the water with us, showing them pictures of what they'd see, like pufferfish and seahorses and all sorts of cool things. And one day after we did our show, a woman came up to us. She was from Chicago. She said, I'm a former kindergarten teacher. Ever thought of doing school assemblies? And I said, you do this as a living? She said, yeah, I do. I've been doing it for several years, but I'm getting out of it now. And she said, I can tell with the way you present yourself, your humor, the images you have, you'd be great with kids. They'd love this stuff. And I said, you think so? I know it. So we were leaving the Caribbean. I wanted to go back and get some more schooling. So the following year, they came back again. We talked to them some more. She said, look, when you come to Chicago, I'll have you meet my agent. So on the way home to California, we dropped by Chicago, met her agent. She said, look, I can start booking you right now. And I said, we're not going to live here. We're going to live in California. He said, when I come out to Chicago, let me know. I'll book you. So we did, and just grew from there. It just built and built and built. And my wife and I do the programs together. So we want to show that this marine science thing is something girls can do as well as guys, not just a guy thing. And so yeah, we've been quite successful. We've been doing programs from coast to coast, literally. Schools, museums. Our favorite place was the Smithsonian. We spoke there a couple of years ago at the Natural History Museum, and we do libraries in the summer if we're not out at sea. And then after we got started doing the programs, I got a call out of the blue because we sell pictures to books and magazines, and it was a company that does small ship expeditions. These small ships hold 100 people or less, and they have a staff on board of like biologists or archaeologists, naturalists, and they take them out exploring around the world. So they said, would you like to work for us? And we said, sure. So we've been working with these small ship companies when we're not in school, taking people to places like you see in Discovery Channel, like the Arctic, the South Pacific, and Alaska, the Bering Sea, Sea of Cortez, Caribbean Sea. And so we bring our experiences from that into the schools as well. In fact, this winter in December and January, we'll be in Antarctica for 2 months, and that'll produce a program for us as well.
So talk a little bit about your programs themselves. I assume you've got several different,
right?
And I assume for different age levels as well. So talk a little bit about the repertoire you guys have in relation to schools,
okay,
and what schools can achieve by having you come in and share with the kids.
One thing we found, it's something we do programs for all age levels. When we're on the ships, we're talking to older people, usually retired people. But our favorite group are the younger students, kindergarten and first, second grade. But we do all grade levels. Mainly, we focus on K through 8 schools because those are the ones that really have a budget for school assemblies. When you start getting into high school, the funding tends to go to athletics and social events. But when we come to the school, we have 8 different shows we do. We've changed them over the years. Some of the ones we've taken out because they haven't been as popular as other shows. Our most popular show is talking about diving with great white sharks in Australia. Of course, everybody loves sharks. In fact, This summer there's a new shark movie coming out called 47 Meters about great white sharks.
So it's not Sharknado 25
no,
or whatever?
No, we talk about real shark stuff. We dispel some of the myths people have about sharks. We tell them not out there hunting for people. In fact, the only animal I'm really scared of in the wild are polar bears. Polar bears will hunt you and eat you. Great white sharks are not interested in eating people at all. The only reason they bite people is by accident. And usually, as long as they don't nick an artery, people usually survive from that because the sharks actually acquire a taste for blubber when they're young. It has a lot of calories. So if they don't taste blubber, like little kids, if they don't like something, they'll go, they'll spit it out. So what happens if they bite somebody by accident? We don't have any blubber, and so to a shark, we're not palatable, and they're not fortunately hunting us. But we basically tell what's going on behind the scenes when they see these things on TV, like these shark dives, what have you. When we show them, we're still here. They didn't bite off our arms and legs. So we talk about the biology and behavior from a scientific aspect, but make it fun. When we do the programs, the first half is kind of a show and tell with audience participation. We use props and models and specimens and have volunteers come up and demonstrate some of the biology we'll talk about during our show. The second part is showing us on the expedition. So they actually see us in these different marine environments working with these animals firsthand. And so they can see we're the real people. We're not just people. I know some places around the country have aquariums that come out and do programs for schools. And I know because we work with an aquarium in California occasionally, and they have a script they give people, and they take them out, they have them do the program from the script. And at the end, they can't answer questions because they don't have that background. So we do our programs only from things we actually have seen and done and know about from personal experience. So we show the pictures or video from the expedition. At the end, we have a surprise. So our big surprise is our inflatable animals, which will either pop out of a box or we'll have them disguised somehow or hidden from view, and they make a big appearance at the end. And then we have a little bit more. We talk about the animal at the end. As time allows at the end, we have a question and answer period. And we always have more questions than we have time to answer, even from the teachers. And because of that, what we do, we encourage the teachers to have their students write to us. Before we even come to the school, we have a curriculum set we send to the schools. So we have a teacher's guide that covers activities in geography, social studies, language arts, fine arts, science and math, and doing stuff on the internet. And we have a student workbook that kids can work on at home with their parents. And so we try to make it more than just a single assembly. We try to do it so they tie it into the curriculum and the kids have more to work on, hands-on in the classroom. And one of the things we do at the end of the program is suggest to teachers, if your students have more questions, have them write to us. So they can send us a letter or even an email, and we're always happy to write back and answer your questions that way. So we try to do more than just come in and do an assembly. We try to make it a lot more interactive and something they can use across the curriculum, which we find principals appreciate as well. And we find also that because it's something we find adults enjoy as much as kids, we've had a number of schools do it as a family fun night or a science night. Some schools also have ocean weeks. So this way the parents can come in with the kids, and the kids can stay and ask more questions. We have hands-on things they can do, but we find adults have a lot of fun.
So have you ever thought about doing a podcast?
We've done some video. We did a video podcast on our whale shark expedition. If you go to our website, which is theoceanadventure.com, we have a special section on internet expeditions. So we have like usually a daily a web blog with pictures, which were available. But with our whale shark expedition, we did a video podcast every day.
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah.
cool. Yeah. Last year I was at the Texas PTA conference in July, and there's a gentleman by the name of, he calls himself Dinosaur George.
Yeah, I know.
And we did the interview, and he's like, Matt, you need to let me know where I need to go to, and he started a podcast now.
Oh, good.
And to supplement obviously what he's doing with his presentations and all that in the schools.
Right.
And so it's pretty cool to see that have come about. So what's maybe one or two of the most memorable or maybe kind of hair-raising adventures that maybe you've had or experiences? Because it sounds like you have absolutely traveled the world,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and done some things that most people would only dream of doing. So, what's maybe one or two that have come up along the way that are memorable?
The question I always get at schools, have you ever been attacked by a shark? That's always everybody wants to know. And yes, I have. But it's kind of humorous how it happened, because most people think of these sharks are big monsters in the sea with sharp teeth trying to eat people. But actually only about, I'd say, of all the sharks, all the species, over 400 species we know about now, and they're always discovering one or two every other year, it seems like. But of all those, about 80% of them are less than about 5 feet long, and half of those are less than 3 feet long, so which means you and I are bigger than most of the sharks out in the ocean. And the only shark that attacked me was a shark about maybe 2.5 feet long. In California, there's a shark. Most people believe sharks have to swim to breathe, and that's not true. A lot of sharks can lay on the bottom and just take a nap without having to move at all. And there's one shark we have in California, a couple species we have that lay on the bottom, actually about 3 or 4 species. But one of them is called a horn shark, and it's unique among sharks in that on its back, in front of each dorsal fin, is a very sharp needle, like a spine. And they use it for protection from larger predators trying to eat them. If they bite down on them, they get a spine in their mouth, they let them go. So these sharks feed at night, and they sleep in the daytime. And they're really easy to find because horn sharks are so stupid. They're not too smart at how they hide. It's like sometimes we play with little kids at home, and they want to play hide and seek, and they go hide somewhere, and it's very easy to find them because they're not good at hiding. Well, these sharks are the same way. They stick their head under the rock. They can't see anything. They think they're hiding, and of course you see their back end sticking out of the rocks. So they just pull them out. You got a horn shark. So one day I was diving with a friend of mine, and he wanted to get some pictures of me holding a horn shark. So I found this horn shark, good-sized horn shark, about 2.5 feet long, and I was holding it, and I was holding it, and I was holding it because he wanted to get a bunch of pictures. So finally I let it go, and when I let it go, it swam away, and then it turned around, it was coming at me, like straight at me, like it was going to bite me. So I just punched in the nose, and he swam away. So that was my shark attack. Now, one of the most dangerous sharks in the world I had an encounter with in Central America. I was working with whale sharks, and I was down in this deep reef, 130 feet down, and we're looking at these fish that we're waiting for them to start laying eggs. That attracts the whale sharks. And they were hanging out in this reef. We're trying to figure out what's going on. And as I'm videotaping, and this appears in one of our shows, and I'm videotaping, out of the blue, out of nowhere comes this 8-foot-long bull shark heading right for me. And, I had no protection or anything. I just had my video camera. But fortunately, I know shark behavior. And sharks are basically fraidy cats. They go after things that are sick and dying, things that they can very easily get. If an animal makes an aggressive move toward them, they're like, I'm out of here. So I swam toward the shark with my camera, and as soon as I started swimming toward it, it just took off and never saw it again. So that was my bull shark encounter.
That's awesome. So, okay, you've talked about kind of all ages that you can do presentations for. You talked about the shark presentation. What are a few others that you guys...
Our newest one, the last 2 summers we've been working in the Arctic, Norway, with polar bears. So that's our newest program. We talk about polar bears. We show other animals we see during the expedition, like puffins and walruses and seals and reindeer. And what we try to do to make it give a tie-in to the kids, a lot of Disney movies feature things that we talk about. So in this program, we talk about the movie Frozen. Everybody knows Frozen. In fact, we have an inflatable Olaf with a Viking hat we designed that joined us on stage. And so we tie that in the movie Frozen because it takes place in Norway. So the kids know something about Norway being cold and snowy, and we build on that and show them where we're going with this program. When we do the Great White Shark program, we tied it in the movie Finding Nemo because it takes place in Australia, and there's a great white shark in the movie. And we have one also on the Australia Great Barrier Reef, and of course that's Nemo's home. So we're visiting Nemo's home. Nemo makes an appearance. Fortunately, last year the movie Finding Dory came out, and her best friend is a whale shark. So in our whale shark program, Dory makes an appearance in the whale shark program. So we try to tie it into something they're familiar with, so we build on that. And there's another thing we do. There's a book that students read all across the country called Island of the Blue Dolphins. And it's based on a true story about an Indian girl that lived on this little island in California all by herself for many years. It's based on a true story. And there is actually an island. The real island is called San Nicolas Island. So we have a program. One of our programs is the island of the Blue Dolphins expedition. We visit the actual island from the book, and we talk about the things they've talked about in the book in the water, in the ocean. And we actually use that as a way to jump into the ocean and study the kelp forest and see the animals that live there. There's a book that kids read called The K, which takes place in the Caribbean. And so we use that as a place to start our expedition to visit animals in the Caribbean Sea, animal adaptations. We have a program called the Silverbank Humpback Whale Expedition, where we visit the largest breeding ground in the world for humpback whales, a place called the Silverbank, and we dive with humpback whale mothers and fathers and babies. And we have 8 different shows. Oh, our favorite animal. People think, well, what about dolphins and things like that? Dolphins are cool, but dolphins in the wild, not trained dolphins, but dolphins in the wild will come by sometimes, check you out, and they go, well, you're boring, and they take off after a couple minutes. They're like, you're done with you. Our favorite animal are manatees. And if you know about manatees, the best place to see them is in Florida. There's only one place you can go to actually go in the water with them in the world called Crystal River. And so we've been there, worked with manatees for 8 years in a row for like a month or 2 at a time. And so we actually visit the manatees, and they're our favorite animal. They're 8 feet long, 10 feet long, weigh 2,000 pounds. And when you go in the water, if you haven't experienced it before, they see you and they start to swim toward you. And they keep going. It's like they go past your comfort zone, like in your face. You think, my gosh, it's going to run into me. And then when they come up to you, they turn around and stick their belly in your face because they want to have you scratch their belly. They're like puppy dogs. They'll follow you around. Literally, they'll follow you around just so you scratch their belly, scratch their backs. And they'll hug you. They'll kiss you. So that's our favorite animal. And that we have a chance to visit that. The stories of mermaids originally came from sailors many years, long time ago, sealing manatees in the water. And so we have a mermaid that makes an appearance during our show underwater to show the difference between actual manatees and mermaids. And that's some of what we do. We have 8 different shows because that way if we're doing a school K through 8, we can do a different show every year. By the time the whole all the students have moved on, we have another group coming in. We'll start all over again.
So do you have an area regionally or geographically where you guys focus? I mean, is it primarily out here in California, or you guys do shows everywhere?
We do shows everywhere. We, of course, since we're based in California, we cover California and also neighboring states, Nevada and Arizona. But we do 2 national tours a year. So in the fall, usually October, November, we do a national tour, coast to coast. And then also in the spring, we just got back from our tour just a couple weeks ago before we came here. And we travel nationally. And we go anywhere they want to learn about the ocean.
Very cool, very cool. Wayne, anything else that you'd like to leave with the School Zone audience as far as what you guys do? Any more information about your program itself? Who might be a good candidate, for you guys to come and work with, that type of thing?
Mm-hmm. Well, the way we do our programs, we try to do it as we ask the schools to do it at least as 2 assemblies, and that we can break it in learning levels. So we do a simpler program for the younger students and keep the words simpler, and then for older students, go into more detail, and often have time for questions. For that, schools book it at 2 assemblies. If they don't have enough space, they can do 3 assemblies. People ask, how many students can we do? We've done groups for as large as 600 and as small. We were just at a school this week in the high desert. The school was 100 kids, so we did 50 kids at a time. But for the largest programs, we were at a junior high. They had a big movie screen, because part of what we do is show our videos. We actually bring in our own HD video projector. The only thing we need from the school is like a screen. So they rented this big 20-foot movie screen. We did everybody at the same time. It worked out great. When they come into the school, all we need from the school is just a screen or a room we can darken, and sometimes in gyms we shine on the wall, table, an extension cord, and a microphone, a PA system, and then we're good to go. So we can go anywhere with what we have. We travel with all our equipment. And if the schools want more information, they can visit our website, which is theoceanadventure.com. We have a Facebook page by the same name. They can email us. We have 800 number. It's 800-760-6089. They can call us up from anywhere in the U.S., toll free. and we're always happy to travel anywhere and speak to any group of kids. And we also do libraries. In the summertime, if we're not out to sea, we speak to libraries across the country as well.
Wayne Brown, thank you very much for sharing, man. This has been awesome.
Thanks.
You know, It's wild. We're just a couple boosts down from one another, and you'd never know the wisdom and the experience that a lot of people you just walk on by have. So this has been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, good.
And,
thanks. It was fun.
I got to tell you, we watched every Jacques Cousteau show that there was. My dad always knew when they were coming on, and that was one of those nights with the family around the TV. So we lived vicariously through him and what you guys on his team in your early years did, and absolutely loved it. So
well, I have to tell you a Jacques Cousteau story then. When he was visiting the resort where I was in the Caribbean in Grand Cayman, he was out there. It was a very remote resort, so nobody knew he was there. And he was there with his secretary. And he goes out walking down the beach the first morning. And he comes back about an hour later. He's hobbling and favoring one foot. So I'm down to the beach there where the dive shop was, and he comes over by the dive shop, and I said, Jacques, what happened? He said, first time I've been in the water without a face mask. He said, first time I stepped on the sea urchin. See, a sea urchin spines on his foot. He stepped on him. That week he didn't go diving. He was trying to nurse his foot because of all the sea urchin spines.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Wayne Brown, The Ocean Adventure. You can find him at theoceanadventure.com. Thank you for taking time out of this crazy day to join us on the School Zone.
Hey, thank you, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for listening to the School Zone's School Fundraising Ideas Podcast and for simplifying the search. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode. When you do, please leave us a 5-star review in iTunes or your podcast player of choice. Most teachers and administrators not only want their kids to have developed minds, but opportunities to develop creativity, positive human values, and a sense of personal excellence. But your budget doesn't allow for all of it. You need fundraising. At School Spirit Vending, we are helping a growing number of elementary schools fundraise the easy way, and we do all the work. We provide the sticker vending machine, free customized school logo stickers, licensed and non-licensed stickers like NFL and Disney, as well as tons of other fun stickers that are relevant to kids. The best part? School Spirit Vending is free. No upfront expenses for schools at all. A percentage of machine revenue goes directly to the school, PTA, or PTO each month. And did I say customized stickers? Our skilled graphics team can help custom design your school spirit stickers. You just tell us what you want. The only thing you do is provide us a busy hallway or commons area. Oh, and you'll have to find the time to cash a monthly check. It doesn't get any easier than that. 2,000 elementary schools can't be wrong. To see for yourself how easy year-round, hassle-free fundraising can be, go to schoolspiritvending.com/schoolzone.